We're here with Jacqueline Franchetti. We've followed this story. You've seen it before on our network about Kira's Law, and this is Kira's mom. And there's a demonstration right now in front of Assemblyman Levine's office because you were this close. You've been working at this for how many years?
Since Kira was murdered in 2016.
2016 until now, and this simple law that is just simple logic is still waiting to get passed. You had all the votes you needed in the Assembly, you had all the votes you needed in the Senate, and you're right there, and they said, okay, adjourn for the day. That is heartbreaking. Tell me what's happening with that, those guys.
Gregg, it's beyond heartbreaking because there are so many children that are at risk today, and so many children who were hopeful that Kira's Law would pass this year. There are children who are being court-ordered into homes where they're being beaten, raped, and emotionally destroyed. And this law would have prevented that from happening. We have the solution. We have the common sense solution. We've been speaking with the judicial system. We have been working with lawmakers, anyone who's a stakeholder, to try to make this a reality.
And part of your solution is simple education. And you're getting a hard time saying, we just want to educate you.
Yes.
How ridiculous is that?
So Kira's Law will do three things. First, it'll make child safety the top priority in a custody case. Second, it'll mandate judicial training. Our judges are not properly skilled, nor are they properly trained when it comes to assessing these life and death situations. And these are life and death situations. And third, it's going to stop common practices that easily allow abusers to gain custody at staggering rates. We're getting it wrong more often than we're getting it right, and we need to change that, and we can change that with Kira's Law. We're asking for the Assembly and the New York State Senate to give us one day of their time to get back to Albany and pass this bill. They've done this before. This is not something new. They can make this happen. And we also want Governor Hochul to step up. You know, she talks all the time about she wants to hear from New Yorkers, and she will help when we have cries for help. Well, children are crying today. Children are terrified today.
Have you gotten her support?
She has not said anything on this issue. So let's find out where she is and get her involved.
She hasn't said anything on child safety.
No.
And the fact that another year has gone by with more children dying.
35 New York children. This is an issue that the governor should be taking up.
I'm having a mental problem with understanding priorities of our universe, period, everywhere. But this is a simple priority, our children and the safety of our children.
Assemblymember Levine just passed a bill that he sponsored to legalize adultery in New York State. I mean, please make this make sense. How is that a priority over child safety? I don't understand it. We have all these wonderful students, and so many more would be here today, but they can't because they can't be on camera. They can't be speaking to the press. So we're being the voice for them. We're being the voice for Kira, for 34 other children who have been murdered. This needs to end.
So another 34. Today. I mean, when I started covering you a couple years ago, and every year the number goes up, it's like you would say, stop now.
There's been 11 in the last year. That's nearly one child a month. How are we not passing this bill?
Then there's no good explanation that will give you any comfort level. It's just a blanket.
What we want is, simple. We want one day of your time. Go back and pass this bill. One day. You can do that.
We're gonna get a chance. The Assemblyman's given us an opportunity to weigh in on his side of this. We're going to ask him some questions, and we're going to cut to that now. But in the meantime, there's a couple of qualities that it takes to achieve anything. Persistence and perseverance, and you set the bar. And we love you for it, and we love you're fighting the fight. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out for all of our events and for interviewing our students. And it's, each time that you come out, it feels... There's been 11 in the last year. That's nearly one child a month. How are we not passing this bill?
Then there's no good explanation that will give you any comfort level. It's just a blanket.
What we want is, simple. We want one day of your time. Go back and pass this bill. One day. You can do that.
We're gonna get a chance. The Assemblyman's given us an opportunity to weigh in on his side of this. We're going to ask him some questions, and we're going to cut to that now. But in the meantime, there's a couple of qualities that it takes to achieve anything. Persistence and perseverance, and you set the bar. And we love you for it, and we love you're fighting the fight. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out for all of our events and for interviewing our students. And it's, each time that you come out, it feels just so great to see you and know that you're supporting us and
Thank
that
you.
your followers support us as well. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate
Our
it.
pleasure. Thanks. We're here in Assemblyman Levine's office. He's graciously given us an opportunity to talk to him. We've been downstairs talking to the people from Kira's Law and listening to what they're having to say. And we just wanted to ask the Assemblyman about his thoughts on it, because some of the things that we heard, we've been following Jacqueline Franchetti for a while, and she's been doing this for years. It'll be going on 10 years pretty soon. And it just seems like a common sense, simple thing that should just go up and get passed, but that it's not, the government isn't working or something's not happening, and that she almost got there this year. She had enough votes in the Senate, she had enough votes in the Assembly, and it didn't get on the docket.
So, of course, I have great concern and great sympathy and empathy for Jacqueline. The tragedy that she was subjected to is something no parent should, under any circumstances, ever have to be concerned about. So, to her great credit, Jacqueline organized a very substantial group of people, and with a lot of input from those folks, she created a bill which is known as Kira's Law, which substantially changes the way that judges consider issues of custody in our state courts. Now, this has come close to passing. I happen to be a co-sponsor and a supporter and have worked very closely with Jacqueline and with the interest groups to make sure that this will be passed, and passed in a way that it can be actually utilized in our courts. The original bill had required a lot of consideration and a lot of modification. This year alone, that bill went through 3 transformations. The final transformation, the final amended version, which is called a C print, was filed in the State Assembly and the State Senate in May of this year, when we were left with only a few weeks to consider this important bill and hundreds of other important bills as well. So I am confident that Jacqueline has done a good job. The sponsor, Andy Hevesy, has done a great piece of work in putting this proposal together, and the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence has also been directly involved and has coordinated with our courts, and I understand that the courts are now looking at this much more favorably than they did originally, and of course it is a much more direct and streamlined bill now, and I think the courts would be able to be in a position to be able to rely on whatever is passed in order to provide for added protection for all of our children. Now, I want to add a cautionary note. The bill requires supervised visitation throughout the state of New York. We do not have a network established now that can implement that, and that is going to cost some money. So this will be a budgetary concern. But I am glad that Jacqueline is here today with her supporters. The more attention this measure, a highly important measure, gets, the more likely it is we'll be able to move it. And I have every reasonable expectation and confidence that we will be able to move this and enact this into law in the state of New York.
Oh, wonderful. There's this word proleptic. It means to answer all anticipated questions. You just answered all the questions I was going to have.
Then I'll just shut up.
But one, this was kind of interesting to me. So in this last session, a law was passed to legalize adultery?
Well, a law was passed to repeal the criminal sanctions on adultery. It was not a law, excuse me, let me refine the language. A bill was passed in both houses, in the Assembly and the Senate, and now that's waiting decision by the governor whether to sign it or not. But I want to offer a cautionary note. That was a very straightforward proposition. Kira's Law is highly intricate, very, very involved, and has a major cost factor associated with it as well. And legislation is, to tell the truth, as they say, legislation is never easy. Under the best of circumstances, it is not an easy proposition. But we are close on Kira's Law, and we're getting closer, and I'm confident something good's going to happen.
Well, that's really good news. Simon, thank you very much. I appreciate
Greg,
your time.
And it's Chuck, my great pleasure.
Thank you.
What do we want?
Kira's Law.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want? We're always taught that we should look to our leaders and our government for help. But where are they? They can't help us right now. They aren't helping us. They aren't listening to our cries for help. We need help. They need to listen to our peers and our voices. We should not be silenced. You need to listen to us.
We're here with Shayna. We've spoken to her before. We've covered this in different places. And Shayna, I was saying to Jacqueline that the couple of qualities that it takes to get things done and to succeed and to achieve: perseverance and persistence. You guys have been persevering, have been persistent, and you're getting this done. We did speak to the assemblyman, and he said he's for the bill, and he said it's going to get passed, but then there are all kinds of things that are kind of getting in its way. So you guys, we understand the frustration, but we love the tenacity. So
Yes, thank you.
Tell us what it's like from your point of view, what it feels like to keep fighting this fight.
It's really hard. It's really difficult. I don't understand, and I really won't ever understand why it won't be passed. It's common sense legislation, and me and my peers, we need this. We need this because we cannot watch another one of us be killed and be murdered by the wrongdoings of the family court system anymore. It's not right, and it never will be.
Things taking time, you can say some things take time, but when we started covering this, it started 2016, and then 2012, and then again, not 2012, 2020, and now it's 2024,
Yeah.
and it's still not passed. It just seems like, okay, that's really unreasonable. And I don't remember when we were putting the pinwheels out.
Yeah, the pinwheels in the parks.
Yeah, and I don't remember how many there were the first time I covered you, but there
have been more.
There's another like 40 children that have died since then.
Yeah.
And 40 children, and the questionable thing was about the bill for adultery getting decriminalized. It's no longer illegal, but that kind of went through.
Yeah.
But Kira's law seems to be a little more complicated. But we love that you are in here. You're fighting the good fight. You're standing up for this. The
Thank
energy
you.
today was great. It's making a
Thank you.
difference. And if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be happening. So thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you so much.
We love what you're doing and what you're taking care of. It's about making the world a better place, and we have a winner here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, we've heard from the Assemblyman. Assemblyman Levine was gracious enough to give us some time and give us some explanations and answers to our questions. And we do understand certain things take time. And we're happy to hear, happy to be able to report that he's for the bill. He wants to get the bill passed. He's very much in support of Jacqueline Franchetti and the fact that she's been doing this and trying to get this moved. He gave us some of the considerations of why he wasn't ready to put it on the docket. There's some financial considerations. That's understood, but I'm sorry I didn't think of it at the time when I was talking to. But you can pass a bill and then do a chapter amendment later when you have to fill in some of the details. But getting the main part of the bill passed for the education, for the protection to go into place, seems like that could be done. And we certainly understand the frustrations of Jacqueline and everyone from the Kira's champions, because we started covering this a long time ago, and it's another year, and every year more children are murdered. It's still unfathomable to me that a parent, a spouse, would murder a child because they are so angry at the spouse that they do it there's a kind of revenge thing. I'm sorry, most of the world's not making sense to me these days. So we did ask the senator about getting the law for adultery passed, and he did tell you, well, it wasn't that complicated. But, was that necessary? Is that a priority to take up the time? I understand Jacqueline's point. So the time it took to do that, and you couldn't have squeezed Jacqueline's in, but we understand there's still some considerations. This is going to get passed. We love Jacqueline Franchetti and what she's been doing and the fight that she's been fighting for a very long time now. And every day that this is not passed, more children are put into danger. So she has our vote. We understand the Assemblyman's position. We're just hoping that this can be taken care of soon. I don't know why I didn't think of the chapter amendment when I was talking to him, but regardless, you're hearing this heartbreaking story about and finding out that there is this thing of children being murdered under the court authorized guardianship and visitations by the court, and putting these kids in harm's way, and they're being murdered, even in the face of incredible concern voiced and warnings and pleas to not let this child be put in harm's way, and they have been. So we all want this passed as quickly as possible. But our hearts are out for Jacqueline Franchetti. Kira, we've seen pictures of her, lovely child, now no longer. So we want to have that stopped. So Kira's law, our assemblymen need to vote for this, but it seems to have the vote in the Senate and the vote in the Assembly. So it's coming really soon, and but not a date too soon. All right, thanks for sticking with us with this story.